tres, I think. Nuevo cuatro tres. What's going on, people? How you doing? How you feeling? How you doing? How you feeling? Great, good to hear. Great, good to hear. How am I? Pretty good, all things considered. Pretty good, all things considered. Seeing the entire internet on fire, seeing my feed on fire, left via the right, compassionate via the, these the not giving a fuck, the rest in pieces. Yeah, it's a battle between the rest in pieces, or the rest in peace, and the rest in pisses on the timeline today. Anyway, at least it feels like for me, the entire timeline is split. People are unfollowing each other. People are arguing with each other. People are going on crazy. It's pretty wild to see what's going on over there. People are really going insane. People are really going flipping nuts. But politics nowadays is very highly charged, very emotional. It's very personal. It matters a lot. The stakes are really high and important, and people probably spend, I think, an unhealthy amount of time obsessing over it. When you think about the direct impact or lack thereof they can kind of impact on it to their obviously regular everyday life. So we are in a situation we're in, you know what I mean? It's just one of those unfortunate situations. But this Charlie Kirk fucking fallout has been pretty wild to watch, man. I've just finished watching actually Candace Owens. There was a really touching tribute from Candace Owens where she kind of pays tribute to Charlie Kirk, and I thought it was a really good one, to be fair. I've never really ever seen Candace like that. She's usually pretty cold, distant, unemotional, but her and flipping Charlie Kirk were really good friends. Obviously, I didn't realize until she mentioned on the show just how good friends they were, and the time that they came up together, helping each other out politically and shit with their commentary and all that, with their commentary careers. So she was really cut up about it. I really did enjoy what she had to say regarding him. I think she did a really good job in terms of humanizing him, because so far the things I've seen about Charlie Kirk, again, I'm not that familiar with his work. I'd see him post on the time up in terms of time, but I wouldn't really waste too much time checking out all the stuff that he said. But yeah, man, I found him to be, whatever in it, same as all the others when it comes to stoking fire and hatred and shit. I didn't really understand why people kind of bought all that sort of stuff, to be fair, when it came to the stuff that he used to say. But again, you have to remember Turning Points USA was an important, very pivotal organization, or kind of political group in terms of pushing conservatism to a lot of young people. A lot of Democrats have probably still never got over that whole thing and probably think they just haven't got over it and can't really ever kind of get those young men back on their side again. So I guess in terms of political opponents, he was maybe number one in terms of somebody they had to kind of get off the fucking chessboard, for lack of a better phrase. But I'll quickly play for you the Candace Owens tribute to Charlie Kirk. Then we're gonna move on and I'll cover some other bits and bobs and then move on to the other story, because talking about this all the time is a little bit annoying in itself as well. But this is a tribute courtesy of Candace Owens, where I feel like does a good job in terms of humanizing him, coming from a friend. I think she was on for like about half an hour, maybe an hour on her live stream. Spoke very much from the heart. Seemed like she was kind of, about to explode with tears and stuff. I held it together. And I think did a good job in kind of, again, painting him out to be a great friend and a brother that she's obviously going to miss. And you could just imagine from a friend side of things, like, we and the public, the neutral public cannot like him, cannot be a fan of some of his rhetoric. But if you're a friend of his, and you see your friends, basically neck fucking exploding all over social media, it's not really going to be something that you can get out of your head, It's fucking wild. So let me play this clip for you of Candace Owens paying tribute to her friend Charlie Kirk.
That we had manifested it. We were 100%, we manifested this by listening to Power on repeat. Actually, I found a clip of us backstage on that day when that tweet happened, and we were doing what I used to refer to as like the Charlie dance. Here it is. You don't understand like the divinity of him tweeting that. Like,
I'm living in that
Charlie
21st
dance
century. There's something meaning to it.
The era of Kanye. I can't even explain it, because you really did have to be there. Charlie was my overly bright and sometimes really annoying kid brother. I was smiling going through my chat of how many times he would text me a picture and say, does this look cool? Does this look cool? Do I look cool? This is like just a screen recording of us talking about a pair of sunglasses. He's just sending me and I'm like, nah, that's not good. Nope, that's not, no, send. Okay, that one's okay. That'll work. And this is actually one of my favorite photos of him where he said, I can just hear him when I look at this photo. I can hear him saying, does this look cool? He was wearing a pair of Yeezys that Kanye gave him, and he looked really cool. I thought they really suited him. I was like, yeah, you look really cool, Charlie. The reverse of that obviously was him constantly hammering me on debates. I mean, Charlie was like, look, you gotta.
So yeah, I don't know, man. Pretty touching tribute, regardless of what you may think of the guy, but one thing that I am really confused about, and I don't know if this is a semi-lacquer, right? So big up my guy Elephant Graveyard. I don't know if this is a semi-lacquer, but am I the only person that feels like they're going insane covering or watching this news about Charlie Kirk? Because I feel like a lot of his supporters, a lot of his fans are really underplaying, are really like refusing to acknowledge and sort of like skirting over the fact that he said quite a lot of hateful things when he was alive. Not to say whatever you say should be a reason for somebody to enact violence, but surely this is something that should be at the top of everyone's mind, you know? The kind of rhetoric that he was pushing out. It's just, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't understand how nobody's really willing to acknowledge the fact that the things that he said might have played a part in the way his life ended. Not to say it's correct, not to say it's just, not to say it's appropriate or anything along those kind of lines, but not acknowledging that fact is just really insulting to my intelligence. I feel like I'm being like gaslit in a way. Like, oh yeah, it's just, yeah, this is really sad. You should have everything. Yeah, of course, but still, you know, like, not to kind of use that horrible term, but it kind of feels like a little bit F around find out. You know, I'm not too pleased that it seems like people are more prone, more easy, like for instance, like people are more prone and more ready to kind of like go after influencers and whatever else it may be, and not even go after, because go after sounds weird, as if I'm like advocating people to kind of hunt down politicians, but it's just a strange thing, right, in terms of who can affect your actual real life day to day. But I just don't understand why this is not a conversation that's being had with a lot of those controversial YouTuber types. Don't get me wrong, I think their actions will speak louder than their words. I think you're going to see in the next couple of months, the next few years, you're definitely going to see a toning down in rhetoric. I don't think these guys are really about that life. Like, so far, I haven't seen anybody come out and say, try me, bitch. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be debating anybody about this. You know, I haven't heard anyone say that. Everyone's been very reflective and somber and quiet and measured. I haven't seen anybody really let their nuts hang. So I think their actions speak louder than their words. But I have still heard words from people where they're completely ignoring or skirting over the fact that this Charlie Kirk guy said a lot of hateful things. There's an entire compilation of his on fucking YouTube that people are having of some of the most, you know, inflammatory and hurtful things that he said to, you know, black people especially, and just to anybody that doesn't look like him, for lack of a better term. But this person on social actually put together a pretty decent list of video titles, right? Video titles from Charlie Kirk that kind of, I feel like, don't really, I think, send the right message in terms of love and not hate, it personally. I think if you're somebody that's spewing this type of rhetoric online, again, it's not, no one's kind of condoning what happened, but it only takes one crazy person. It only takes one unhinged person, one person to get their feelings hurt, to feel like it's their responsibility to silence you, and then suddenly, boom, here's what happened. So I don't know, man. I just feel like it's kind of, you know, if anything as well, it kind of also does disservice to his quote unquote legacy and to his passing. If people don't acknowledge the fact that he did say some dicey stuff, as Brendan would say, some racy stuff, some edgy stuff that you would imagine would ruffle some feathers. This is a compilation of some of this, right? From this Twitter account called Old Man Lefty, who posted an entire list of titles. I'm assuming taken from YouTube videos. I'm assuming they are. The titles are one. Let's read them through, right? or maybe these are just statements that he said in the past. Maybe not YouTube time. Maybe they're statements he said in the past, because I don't think you could get away with the first one. The first one says, gay people should be stoned to death. Then we have, most people are scared when they see a black pilot flying a plane. Oh no, yeah, I've heard him say this. So these are things that he said, statements he said. Taylor Swift should reject feminism and submit to her husband. No one should be allowed to retire. Like, what? He's coming after everybody. Like, he's a real equal opportunity fucking bigot. You know? He was a real opportunity bigot, right? A real kind of, you know, across the board fucking piece of shit. Everyone gets it. Women, fellow white people, old people, black people, Hispanic people, everyone fucking gets it from this guy. Leftists should not be allowed to move to red states. British colonialism was what made the world decent. Jesus Christ. The guy who assaulted the Pelosi's should be bailed out, which again, you know, that sounds like karma to me. Religious freedom should be terminated. Multiple black politicians stole white people's spots. MLK Jr. was an awful person. The Great Replacement theory is reality. Hydrochlorine cures COVID. Vaccine requirements are medical apartheid. Guns deaths are acceptable in order to have a Second Amendment. That one's the one that really came to bite him in the ass, I think, right? That second one definitely came to bite him in the ass. Parents should prevent their daughters from taking birth control. George Floyd had it coming. The Jan 6 protesters didn't. 1964 Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. Jesus Christ. Encourage parents to protest mask mandates. Mandani winning in NY is travesty because Muslims did in 9/11. Muslims only come to America to destabilize Western civilization. And finally, Palestine doesn't exist. Those who support it are like the KKK. Like, pretty insane statements right there, right? And you'd imagine one of those could upset an entire group of people, one person, enough for them to commit such a crazy brazen crime and assault that led to his death. Like, it's pretty insane, man. And you think about the brutal nature of how he passed away, right? The public nature of it all, the gore, all of that. I wonder if that's all tied with some of these statements. Like, you know, you spewed all this hatred, and here you're gonna go out in a really hateful way. You know, he didn't go out, he didn't get poisoned or anything. You know, this was you going out like, you know, probably in a lot of pain. You're imagining, kind of gargling on your own blood and shit. Like, oh yeah, man. Honestly, what a horrible way to go. And then of course there's the video footage that the FBI have released. I'm sure I covered this before on the previous episode. But they've released video footage of who they deem to be a suspect, a person of interest. Based on the picture alone and the way that he's walking, you can probably tell he's probably a suspect, especially the glasses and the hat. He kind of looks a little bit dodgy anyway. And then they've also released a picture of the rifle that was allegedly used. So I think the rifle was dumped in some bushes. He didn't take it with him, which is odd. But I guess maybe in terms of moving around, he probably needed to take it with him, you know? I'd imagine. But every time I watch movies about snipers or about, you know, thrillers in general, they always advocate or they always push for you to take the gun with you, to take the shell case and take the gun with you, so that you can kind of give yourself the best chance possible to kind of not get caught. Or if they do catch you and you take the gun with you and dispose it, then you also give yourself the best possible chance to get off because they don't have a weapon. But I guess in order for him to move and to run away, he ended up having to dump it in the bushes, I'm assuming. Pretty wild state of affairs. And then I also wanted to play here. There's a TMZ video, right? Where's it? There we go. There's a TMZ video, actually. TMZ have released a video footage from somebody's Ring camera. Now, this is obviously going to spell, I think, the what you call it? The adoption of people like Palantir to come in and start installing cameras all over America. But this video footage is taken from somebody's Ring camera, somebody's CCTV camera outside of their home. A very lovely home, by the way. Someone's got a really nice driveway here, and somebody and the video footage kind of shows him walking towards the university. So I'm guessing the police, like you see on most crime documentaries or, you know, crime TV shows, they kind of they rewind back onto CCTV, have people poring over every footage, every bit of angle to figure out where he came from. They spotted it, and then they were able to kind of trace his steps going backwards to kind of figure out how he kind of got to the university campus. And they figured it out and seen that there was a character, a person of interest matching the same description with the same long sleeve shirt on. You can see with the flag walking towards the campus. Now he's walking with a bit of a limp, right? An odd gait or something, right? So some people online are suggesting that he could be walking with that weird limp because he's got the rifle in his trousers because he couldn't carry it in his backpack. So some people are suggesting that limp is because he put the rifle down his right leg, the right pant leg, which is why he's walking with the gait. Some people are suggesting he could be walking with a gait to confuse, because the police sometimes use gait experts to like clock you on. Like I think I saw it recently in a shooting or something. One of those kind of gang guys essentially got picked up, and I think they were able to kind of spot that it was him. I think it was Julio. I think it might have been Julio. The Julio shooting, I think one of the assailants was basically caught because they were able to match his gait with the video, because on the video footage the person was just wearing all black, completely covered head, so you couldn't see anything, but they're able to match the way that shooter walks and whatever, and be able to say, yeah, with certainty that was most likely him. So some people are suggesting this guy could be limping to confuse whatever gate specialist they are using over there in the FBI. Who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? But either way, he's walking across the street with the flipping limp that he has, looking around a little bit, looking a little bit nervous, a little bit sketchy, I'm not going to lie. And then after the shooting, they spot him allegedly walking towards the back of the fields over there. Somehow. Don't know where does he pop out then? Okay, I thought that was, okay, that's him walking around the back of the fields. So he's somewhere in the bushes over there. Away from the line of sight of the cameras, which is an interesting way to take. I wonder if this kid is an expert or this is just a random person. I'm curious if this person ever gets caught. I wonder if this is like foreign intelligence or if this is just a random kid who just watched a lot of movies, watched a lot of thrillers, and kind of figured out how to like best escape. I wonder, because he didn't walk back the same way. He went the same way. He went one way, didn't walk back the same way. Mess up his gait, and I'm assuming that the rifle was probably found in these bushes too, because he was running behind the bushes. Maybe. And yeah, that's the person of interest that they have there. That's the person of interest that they have there. That's the person of interest that they have there. The funny thing that I thought was really hilarious, personally, what I found really fucking hilarious was Ethan Klein's response, right? Ethan Klein from H3H3, his first initial response when he saw that video clip was to essentially make it all about himself. The initial statement on fucking Instagram, which I'm going to read now. I think it's fucking hilarious, right? He wrote as follows: I'm absolutely horrified by what happened to Charlie Kirk. This video is devastating. Anyone celebrating it should be deeply and forever ashamed. That's the first paragraph. Then he continues on and makes it all about himself. I'm scared for myself and my family. He doesn't even put, if you're a real man, when you write that sentence, you say, I'm scared for my family. You wouldn't put yourself. But Ethan is such a narcissist. He's such a selfish guy. He's such a slimy guy as well, that he puts himself first. I'm scared for myself and my family. So the most important person, even in this situation, is himself. There's been constant stream of death threats targeting me and others, constantly coming from Twitch TV. Did you think somebody would find a way to blame Twitch TV for the death of fucking Charlie Kirk? Well, Ethan Klein found a way. Ethan Klein found a way to blame Twitch TV for some reason for the death of Charlie Kirk, to kind of rope it back all about him again. This is the inevitable result of Twitch's continued endorsement of radical violent voices. He's using this opportunity to try and get Hassan Piker banned and shit. It's fucking hilarious. I'm not saying anyone on Twitch influences directly. Yes, you are saying that. Of course you're saying that. We don't know anything yet, but this is a type of political violence that very specific people have been encouraging. Mike from PA, by the way, that's a new enemy from fucking the Ethan Klein world, have broadcasting consistent threats of violence for years with zero accountability from Twitch. Twitch ensures this will continue to happen. I'm so sorry for Charlie's family and wife. This is 1 year, and he's 1 year son. So, you know, he made it all about himself. But when I read this initially, I'm not going to lie, even though it did make me laugh and it did make me fucking shake my head and it did make me put my fucking head in my hands, when you read through it, if you just strip away your hatred for H3 or you're annoying to how you can know he could be a little bit of a baby and a little bit dramatic, and just really focus on the person. This sounds like somebody that's really scared. You know, strip back all the pretense, strip back all the whatever. I sense from this statement somebody that's really, really, really scared. Because you know, Charlie Kirk, well, you know, he was a controversial, divisive figure, but you know, he basically said the stuff that Ethan would say on his side, left-hand side. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like he's anything crazy compared to Ethan. They're kind of operating the same sort of world. Yes, Charlie Kirk was maybe a little bit more politically, you know, in line and stuff, and aligned to the fucking Republican Party and officially doing those type of things, but they kind of exist in the same sort of universe. So it only makes sense that Ethan would be worried for his own safety, considering they kind of both do the same thing. So then he jumped onto his stream on H3 and decided to address the situation. And I thought this response from Ethan was a far more, I won't say believable, but it came across like he definitely felt bad for what happened to Charlie Kirk. But it also came across like he was sobbing at the thought of something ever happening to his family. You know, he's really fucking scared. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a slight change in the rhetoric or some of the stuff he's going to be spewing, because I think a lot of these people are, you know, seeing what happened to Charlie Kirk and they don't want to be next. Naturally, makes a lot of sense.
I thought it was horrific. This is not, and well, like I said at the time, and people on the left were even criticizing me. They go, "Oh, Ethan was talking bad about Luigi." How much has he changed? That was my point. He went out and murdered this guy, right? What changed? Not a single fucking thing changed. That's not how we enact change. And so I wouldn't recommend watching the video, but for me, it
it's less about Charlie Kirk and him just imagining himself getting murked. I think that's what he's crying for. Legit. He's crying about himself. Honestly, he's crying about himself.
It's terrifying.
What a crazy guy.
I feel like it's such a terrifying moment for everybody. And
of course, Healer Klein, right? Healer Klein, completely stone cold. She served in the army, though. Makes sense, right? She served in the Israeli Defense Force at one time. I know it's kind of, it's kind of compulsory. It didn't mean she may have killed women and children. Who fucking knows? But you can just see the difference of somebody that's actually been in war, seen some crazy shit, maybe done some crazy shit, having a completely stone-faced, non-plus reaction to it. Yeah, it's sad, but hey, people die every day, B. People die every day, according to Healer Klein.
To understand this is what we've come to, and I can't help but think about the poor wife,
kids. Yeah, we've all been scared. Some of us have been looking into getting our concealed license permit.
Yeah.
But seeing it like that, definitely.
I don't know. I don't know if somebody that cries the way Ethan's crying at this news, maybe he needs some training, I wouldn't trust someone like that with, you probably shouldn't carry a gun, maybe higher security, I don't think the smartest thing, if you're that emotionally fragile, you probably shouldn't be buying a gun. You should probably just hire security. They could probably afford it too. Just fuck it, hire all-round security.
Made it more realistic and very scary.
I've avoided watching the video, but I heard Ethan's reaction when he saw it. I was like,
He screamed, eh?
I knew that was something you don't see every day.
I was brought to tears then, because I don't know.
Ethan's definitely the type of guy, not to be mean or anything, but he's definitely usually if you've got like small children and you're like a parent and stuff, you're meant to like not react super crazy when you see crazy stuff online. you're meant to have like a somewhat measured response so that your kids don't freak out. But Ethan's the type of guy that's like, "Ah!" you know, he's that type of guy. You know, I could imagine him doing that. Like his voice in his massive mansion, just the sound ringing around the fucking walls of that mansion, just like everyone fucking getting panicked. Like, you're meant to just keep calm, man. Keep calm so your kids can keep calm. But hey, maybe in that situation it's harder said than done. But yeah, man, crazy situation all around. Crazy situation all around. Everybody is affected negatively within that space that you call whatever the space you call it. Moving on. Randomly I saw this and I thought I wanted to talk about it because I think I've been preaching this type of stuff for a while, mostly regarding the random show when it comes to certain comedians and stuff, right? And what I've been preaching on the random show regarding certain comedians is advocating for quitting, encouraging quitting, and not seeing quitting as like a bad thing. Because, you know, I analyze sometimes or review or talk about stand-up comedy a lot. It's a, you know, I like doing it, but it can sometimes be very, very, very depressing because a lot of these guys are terrible at what they do. And you're having to watch hour-long specials. You're having to cover a bunch of stuff that these guys put on. It can just get a little bit draining, right? To kind of watch a lot of shit stuff again and again and again. But it's also kind of weirdly confusing because a lot of these guys I watch online are some of the best. A lot of these guys and girls are some of the best in their field. Highly rated, all the best endorsements, specials on Netflix, Hulu, all these big fucking streaming platforms. Yet they consistently put out some of the worst stand-up you've ever heard in your entire life. And I remember on a random show, I'll be like, you know what? Why don't these guys just quit and focus on the podcast? A lot of these guys anyway they probably make a lot more money doing podcasting than they would do doing comedy. If they don't, it probably is way less stress to be a podcaster than it is to be a fucking stand-up comedian anyway. So why don't you just focus on that? And obviously, you know, the response I would get back, I think, if I'd ask a comedian, why don't some of them just quit and focus on podcasting, is that they want all the money, right? Comedians, I think, I've mentioned it on the previous episodes, I think comedians might be, although comedians are like on the lowest rung of the entertainment ladder in terms of talent and need for society. I think they're on the lowest rung. I think the only people above comedians are DJs. But I think comedians, even though they're on the lowest rung of the totem pole when it comes to being in the entertainment industry, they're also the most like money minded. They don't miss a trick when it comes to money. Like, you'll never see most comedians, wherever you see them, they get in a bag. They never turn down bags. They're always fucking chasing bags. That's all that's on their mind. So I think a lot of them just don't want to quit stand up because why would you quit if you can make all that money? But I think some of them do for the betterment of the fucking, you know, industry itself, so that we all don't think they're fucking shit. Some of them got to move out of the way. And I think the same thing applies to music. So when I saw this, I was a little bit, you know, upset and annoyed because I'm a fan of the artist. But I was also a little bit refreshed. Like, okay, cool. This is actually a good thing. Look at this, courtesy of Fearbuck. I'm not sure if this is true, but they're saying that Lil Baby's team has announced that he's retiring from music. I don't know what that means. I don't know if this Instagram account, which is called Wolfpack Music, is Lil Baby's like subsidiary, if it's his management company, I don't know. But it's got a black background with a black heart, and underneath it says Baby retiring from music. This is crazy. So I'm not too sure if this is tied in with what happened with Young Thug and the phone calls getting leaked and blah 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 blah. But it looks like Lil Baby is retiring from music, and you know, considering the last few albums that he's put out have been pretty horrible. He definitely hasn't been able to recapture or kind of, you know, ever touch the success and just the ability and just the music that he was putting out when he first kind of burst onto the scene. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a 3-year run, a little bit. It felt like a 3-year run where he put out some amazing records, amazing freestyles, and he wasn't able to recapture it. Now, I have to give him a little bit of grace and say that I remember him doing an interview. I think he did an interview with Lil Yachty, I think. And he kind of, you know, revealed to Lil Yachty that he was actually at Young Thug's house before Young Thug got arrested on a YSL RICO. He just left a few hours earlier. So if he would have been there later, he probably would have got wrapped up in the RICO too. But he left a few hours before. So all those guys are his like friends, right? So they all get wrapped up in the RICO, and around that same time, there was murmurs in the industry that the Atlanta was working, the Atlanta fucking court, whatever it's called, were also working on a case to run a RICO on Lil Baby's group called 4PF, I think 4PF. And I think that also was around the time that he decided to disband it and kind of dissolve the whole 4PF thing, because I think he also heard the same rumor. And I think he admitted on a Lil Yachty interview that the YSL RICO really kind of shook him up. It kind of prevented him from making music. It prevented him from rapping a certain way, because I'm assuming a lot of his bars, which we probably aren't aware of, they're probably talking about a lot of real street shit. But he was able to talk about it in a way that people didn't really clock and people weren't really paying attention, whatever. But now with the target on him, with this whole YSL RICO thing, he probably felt he couldn't really be himself, So he was so that might explain why we got such subpar music, because he was always thinking in the back of his mind that the RICO could hit any day and you could, not be free anymore. And then I'm assuming also off the back of that, the Young Thug interview and all the backlash or the fallout from the leak conversation could have also shook him, because, he probably has an image of Young Thug being one way. Then when your phone calls get leaked from you in jail, where you think they would never get leaked, right? You're talking the most crud on there. You're probably talking a little bit too much. And for somebody that, thinks they're street dudes, is probably a big disrespect, and he's probably just disillusioned. But regardless of the reason, I think for Lil Baby, considering the amount of money he's probably made from music, considering the options he probably has now going forward, I probably think now would be the best time to retire and just focus on other things, whether it's streaming, whether it's managing and shit, opening a fucking bar, restaurant, the studio, fucking weed shop. That wasn't such a bad idea. I think it should be encouraged way more. The worst thing I think you could do, again, I've never made music, right? All I do is DJ. I've never made music, but I think if I was to make music at the level of Lil Baby, especially considering the success he had in the past, and then you're putting out these projects that you're pouring your heart into, but no one seems to be fucking with them, that'll break your heart, So why would you put yourself through that unnecessary heartbreak when you know your heart's not in it, and just choose to do something else that you really give a shit about? That might be the best way to kind of approach stuff. So I'm all for this. If this is true, I'm all for this. If this is true, I'm all for this. Talking about what I'm for, I was listening to an episode of How Long Gone podcast, right? One of my favorite podcasts. And they were talking, randomly about what they talk about. And one of the co-hosts on How Long Gone podcast inadvertently leaked or revealed that he had been, or they had been, Jason Stewart and Chris Black, had been invited to CharlieXCX wedding. And if you're wondering, didn't she already get married? Yes, she did. She got married at a ceremony here in London, in Hackney, if I'm not mistaken, at the Hackney Town Hall. It looks like a really cute, small, intimate setting with close family and friends. And then I guess they're having a bigger party, wedding celebration, which I think people are doing now a lot. They're having like small wedding reception, sort of like, what do you call it? Vows exchanges type of thing. Still wearing wedding dresses, but just doing it with a small select group of family and friends, and then doing a proper big party where they invite everybody down to another location. According to my Googling online, the rumors are that this celebration is going down in Italy. Somewhere in Italy, allegedly, is going down. So yeah, they got invited. So when I was listening to it, I was like, oh shit, they got invited. And I don't know why, but it surprised me, because I didn't think they were friends. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the How Long Gone guys are friends with the groom. So CharlieXCX, husband, they're friends with him. But also, they're kind of just seen friends with him anyway. They did interview CharlieXCX on How Long Gone. It was definitely one of their best and probably biggest interviews. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they might have interviewed CharlieXCX just before she dropped Brat. So she wasn't at the height of her fame, but still an amazing get for a small kind of niche podcast. So they did an amazing job doing that. And it was a really good interview as well. But they're more friends with the groom, innit? Of course. But again, I don't know if they're, again, maybe I missed it, but I don't necessarily remember them saying that they were super deep, close friends with that guy that she's married. I think his name might be George or something. And I think he's a drummer in 1975. I think so, if I'm not mistaken. Matt Healy's fucking band, the one that goes out with, oh no, he's got a taste. I don't know who he goes out with now. But regardless, it just surprised me that they were invited to the wedding, being seen friends. And I want to know, is that normal? Is that normal? Because I always assumed weddings were like very personal, very intimate, close knit. You were only people from the inner circle were able to go. But it seems like nowadays people are inviting like anybody. Like if you queued up with somebody at a club for long enough, they're inviting you down. If you maybe exchange a couple of words in the fucking toilet cubicles of a club somewhere, they invite you down. You play football with somebody once, they invite you to their wedding. It's a bizarre thing because I thought people would invite their friends, you know, actual close friends and family. But on the flip side, that also may be a reflection on the lack of friends we all have now, or the lack of friends people are willing to invite. Because what would you rather? Would you rather invite your actual close friend, knowing full well they'll probably flake, or invite somebody that you might have met in a rave toilet somewhere who's actually, you know, he's always kind of engaging with your Instagram stories, always liking, sending you emojis, exchanging stickers with you, checking up on you from time to time? Well, who do you rather invite? That scene friend, quote unquote, who you know is going to be there because they love a good time out and a little bit of a drink and a wiggle, or your real friend who probably will make an excuse last minute not turn up? So maybe that makes sense of why people are doing it, but it honestly surprised me because number one, of course, I was surprised because they had already their first wedding, right? That took place near Hackney Town Hall, which I think was a really cute way to do things. Again, I'm not really the biggest fan of marriage or wedding in general. I don't necessarily think I'll ever get married anytime soon. It's not something that's probably in my future or my car, something I'll give a fuck about. But I'm also one of those, you know, classic romantics where I do love seeing people getting married. You know, I do love seeing people in love, people committing to each other, exchanging vows, the whole ceremony, the dresses, all that shebang. You know what I mean? You invite me to a fucking wedding and I'm going to spend most of my time eating and crying and eating and crying, one or the other. Do you know what I mean? But that's exactly what I like when I see these type of things. So you see the dress that she wore outside Hackney Town Hall. This place is legendary, by the way. Across the road is one of the best Wetherspoons ever. Obviously, the Montague Pike in central London, Tottenham Court Road, holds a special place in my heart. But one of the best Wetherspoons you'll ever go to is the one just across the street from the Hackney fucking Town Hall. It's such a good hang, especially that little. There's like a little conservative-y patio indoor thing towards the front. If you know, you know where I like to sit. There's a really cool or nice upstairs bits as well to go sit down to. The toilets in there are really big and kind of nice as well. I'm not gonna lie, for a Wetherspoons, they're pretty decent. I'm not too sure what that building was before, but it's very spacious, and they've got little cubbies to the side of the walls where you can sit down in. I'm a big fan of that Wetherspoons across the road from the Hackney Market. From the Hackney Town Hall. Next to it too is a pretty decent kebab shop, I think, if I'm not mistaken. There's a pretty decent kebab shop. There used to be a really good Turkish around the corner, Hackney Central, but that's closed down. And I think across the street, you know, towards maybe the Tesco, there's also this really cool place called Paper Dress Vintage, which is a really cool little mix. If I'm not mistaken, it's a vintage shop, it's a cafe, and it's also a club, like bar live venue. The main floor is like where the vintage stuff is, and then towards the back there's a bar where you can order drinks, and then there's the stairs on the right hand side, the kind of windy stairs that lead up to a dance floor where people DJ and bands play. Fucking gnarly. It's a really cool spot. It's not open super late though, unfortunately, but it's a really cool spot just in front of Hackney Central that I would definitely recommend you check out if you're ever around London way. There's a clip here of CharlieXCX trying on a wedding dress, I think, at the time that the wedding happened. The caption says, "When George isn't crying when he sees me walking down the aisle." Yeah, nice. You've got Kitten Hilton. She looks great in those. And you got more pictures. And, you know, again, props to him, man. Props to him because, you know, no homer in that. But, you know, the guy's batting out way out of his fucking league. But he's still able to bag. I think this is a great year. This is a great generation. A great time for men out there batting above their leagues. This is what you should be doing. You know what I mean? You should be batting above your leagues. You should be trying, connecting, hollering, shouting out, doing whatever you can to bag the baddies. And there's some other pictures too from the wedding you can see there. Looks really fucking cute. They look amazing together, really cute, to be honest. I don't mind that. Expect babies soon, I'm assuming. Expect babies soon. Expect babies very soon. CharlieXCX has gone from brat to settling down, you know, in record time, really, isn't it? Because brat is a really, if you think about it, it's a really single girl anthem, isn't it? It's a very rebellious, living your best life. It's sort of like a white city girls type of thing. So to go from that to being married is fucking hilarious, isn't it, really? It's just really fucking funny. And it was probably on the cards for a while too. I bet you I bet he proposed way before the album was done, but they probably couldn't get married because it would kind of fuck up. It'd fuck up the vibe of the album. You know, it's already bad that she has a boyfriend, but you know, having a fucking fiance and husband would have been a bit fucked up. So once the album popped off and she was able to get the most out of it, boom, now I'm married. I'm really looking forward to the next album though, because I mean the next album's fucking amazing. But yeah, I was just wondering, man, is it normal for you to invite your scene friend to weddings? Am I being a little bit of a fuddy-duddy? Is this really normal though, and it's not that big of a deal? Or is the introduction of inviting scene friends to wedding a reflection of just how lacking in friends that we all have? Because I remember when I kind of like took myself out from the scene, sort of like retreated to my little hideaway, I remember that was one of the first things I noticed in terms of, oh shit, I'm not in the circle anymore. Because when I was in a circle, when I was around, when I was going to all the bars, when I was jumping from place to place on the fucking strip every weekend, my phone was buzzing. My phone would always be vibrating. Everyone always texting me, hey, what's this plan? What's he doing here? You want to link up? You want to go there? But as soon as I pulled out and kind of purposely went away, you know, the phone calls and texts stopped. And then what you notice quickly on Instagram, you notice people getting married and stuff, baby showers, and then you see the same faces that you used to hang around with. The only person missing from this picture will be you, maybe a couple of others, and that was a clear indication. Okay, cool, everyone's kind of moved on. You've been replaced, or your place is gone, blah 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 blah. And that was usually a reflection of like, okay, cool, you're not our friend, you're not around anymore, so no one's going to invite you to the wedding. But if you are still there, you would get invited to the wedding. You know what I mean? Which is sometimes a little bit bittersweet, isn't it? Because you can understand why, but you're like, oh, I still kind of know you for ages, but you know, it kind of is what it is. Because knowing me, I probably wouldn't have turned up anyway. Knowing me, I probably wouldn't have turned up anyway. One of my favorite pictures actually from their wedding, I should definitely want to show you one last time actually, is this picture. This picture might be one of my favorite pictures. I'm assuming they probably got it framed somewhere in their own home. They probably should have it framed. They're both sitting outside a restaurant somewhere, I'm assuming, somewhere in London. There's a Lime bikes there in the background. CharlieXCX is smoking on a cigarette, wearing some shades in her full wedding dress, and George is sat there crossing his legs, smiling at the cameraman while he's drinking some drinks. I think this is a quintessential London wedding, fucking recently got married couple thing. I fucking love it. It's so fucking chic. So fucking chic. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nada, nothing, zilch, absolutely zero. Talking about something that I do know, big up Salehe Bembury, big up blood clot Salehe Bembury. It's been a pretty big week for him. Three big drops courtesy of Salehe Bembury. First of all, there are these New Balances that came out the other day. They're the New Balance 1000 Fog Be the Cold, featuring Vic Mensa in the ad campaign. Vic Mensa's had a really cool little glow up recently, where he's kind of embraced sobriety. He's also been doing the 75 hard challenge. He's got himself in ridiculous shape, and he's also doing these spoken word motivational things. Don't get me wrong, they're a bit corny, you know, they're a bit cheesy, they're a bit corny and lame, but I do appreciate that he's trying to put out good energy. He's trying to make you think, he's trying to give you food for thought, and I think they're really well done as well. He speaks obviously really well, and he's kind of the main model for this campaign for these Fog 1000s. Although I do like this particular pair, the color that I like is the other color. There's another color that's kind of lighter than this, which I think are incredible. I think they're like a pinky whitey type of a color, but these are really, really fucking gorgeous too. Look how many color tones. And what obviously I like the most about Salehe Bembury's kind of colorways is the materials, you know, the mix up, because I think colors obviously are what they are, but the materials and the different textures they give the shoe, the fact that they make this, you know, this kind of hairy suede whatever tip here kind of gives the front of it a more of a chunkier silhouette. You got this really nice wide mesh here as well. You know, all these different patterns. I think that pattern, I think that might be patent. The lines here on the 1000. This translucent N as well is fucking gorgeous. The speckled outsole here, giving you a little peek there in the front. They kind of make me look like they're lizards or something, you know. Really fucking cool colorway. You can't go wrong with them. And there's a matching video too. Actually, let's just do the pictures first of all. As you can see here, he looks like he's sitting on a cloud, fishing for the 1000s, which are maybe, I guess they're like some sort of mythical creature or something that he's kind of fishing for. Either way, they look so good, so well done. He absolutely smashed them with these. And maybe that's inspiration, actually. Maybe the inspiration is this toolkit box. This little organizer thing. Maybe that might be the inspiration of the actual colorway itself, the camping toolkit. And obviously there's a picture here with Vic Venter as well, wearing some grills and the matching hat as well. Let's actually play the video where he kind of features in the campaign. Really cool. This is really cool. I wonder who does the. I wonder who's in charge of the budget for this. Is this cheap to be done? Is this easy to be done? I don't know. Oh yeah, that's the other colorway. That's the other colorway that I said are the hardest. I think those might be actually better than the ones they actually released recently. This kind of white-ish, pinkish colorway that has this gradient that kind of goes from blue to pink towards the back of the heel. So fucking well done. And I think there's a section here in the video where he opens one of the lunchbox toolkits, whatever that thing is, and there's little key rings, I think, that show up and coming colorways of other shoes. Or maybe, oh no, sorry, these are shoes. No, they are, right? Yeah, these are all Salehe Bembury New Balance shoes that he's made recently. And he's kind of turned them into, not key rings, they're shipping, what they called? Fishing lures or whatever they're called, right? So you got the different models here. I think they go in chronological order too. So those are the ones that released recently. I think those are the ones that he put out in like some Scandinavian country. I forgot. I think they released exclusively there, which was pretty cool. The purple ones I really liked as well. And obviously these blue 1000s, but that's the colorway. That colorway there, it kind of reminds me of like a pair of like, you know, Air Max 90s from back in the day that had a similar sort of colorway, the coral colors. But those are beautiful. That tip, that gradient towards the back, oof, too fucking hard. So I'm really looking forward to those coming out. And then of course there's an update versus again via the Juniper. I've been thinking about these a bit now because ever since the news came out that, you know, the Tom Sachs Mars Yard 3.0s are unfortunately only going to be available through that stupid fucking challenge shit that fucking Tom Sachs is doing, right? And I didn't take part. And I downloaded it. I was going to take part, and I thought, you know what, fuck that. I'm also the same guy that doesn't fucking you know, when you go to you know, when you apply for a job and they want you to do like you know, a task. You have to kind of, like, give us a plan for our marketing strategy for Q4 and highlight the things that we're missing out on, what you would do differently. It's like, motherfucker, I don't work for you yet. I'm applying for this fucking job. Why should I give you a whole fucking marketing rundown and shit? Go fuck yourself. So I don't do that. Whenever those messages get sent, I just fucking delete them and just keep it moving. So I'll be damned if I start fucking throwing little paper balls into a bin to fucking win a chance to enter my name into a lottery in order to fucking pay for the shoes. Go get fucked. So I didn't do them. So I've been looking for some alternatives, and I don't mind the Junipers, you know. These Junipers that fucking Salehe Bembury did in collaboration with Crocs are pretty fucking cool. They have, I think, the similar sort of look and appeal to what the Tom Sachs Mars Yards are kind of going for. There's a new colorway here, which this is a colorway Manuka. Which I think is the honey, right? Manuka. So they kind of got the similar sort of look to it, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they look fucking gorgeous, isn't it? I really wasn't a fan of them when they first dropped, but that kind of, it looks like you stepped in lava, that sort of thing that kind of encompasses the entirety of the shoe. It kind of reminds you of, like, you know, when you used to go hiking or you go to a farm and your whole foot will be covered in mud. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that. So I wonder if that's the inspiration, that kind of like muddy sort of thing you get on the side of your boots and whatever, but you sort of like, you know, made it into an outsole type of thing. And again, these are Crocs sneakers, you know, fucking cool that he's done this whole entire thing with them as well. Really amazing fucking shoe and style. I love the fucking lookbooks. I love the lookbook, yeah. I love the fucking campaign they do with them as well. They're always very creative and smash it. And I think everyone that wears them makes you want to wear them, you know? Everyone that wears a pair makes you want to fucking wear a pair. So big up Salehe Bembury for those. And then the last thing regarding fucking Salehe Bembury is going to be this, which is probably the best thing. Definitely the best thing. This book. He's releasing a coffee table book. Salehe, it says, I make shoes. The blurb on his caption says, I'm proud to introduce Salehe, I make shoes. A 15-year retrospective of my career. Fucking hell, it's been 15 years already, you know. The first time I think I heard about him was with the Versace chainmail, right? They call chainmail, whatever those shoes are. Those are the first time I ever fucking heard of him. So he's gone from that all the way to this. 15 fucking years. Time goes by in a flash. Career published by Rizzoli, designed by Playlab with a hand-painted cover by Delphine Finley. This 368 pages, I'm definitely getting this, captures my journey, process, and the moments that have shaped my path. Releasing October 14th, the book will be available globally online and at certified Rizzoli retailers. Hopefully he does some sort of signing. I'd love to get it signed, to be fair. Hopefully he does some sort of like signing thing. That'd be fucking cool. Maybe you meet up with other fucking, you know, sneakerheads and Bembury fucking fanboys. But that'd be pretty fucking sick. I love the cover. Kind of reminds me of Caramel Bobby type of stuff, right? With the text, with the picture in the middle and the text on either side or the top and the bottom. Salehe, I make shoes in orange with the kind of purple font there. And then you've got, yeah, different shoes that he's made over the years. I think we're going to be surprised, isn't it, by the shoes that he's made. Because these are the Yeezys, isn't it? These are the Yeezy army boots. I think we might be shocked. I think I might be shocked. Because I think a lot of these things he wasn't probably allowed to say he made. Maybe the NDAs have passed and stuff. But you don't really hear of people, like, to this day, I don't really know who actually designed the Balenciaga Triple S's, you know? One of my favorite shoes ever, one of my favorite fashion shoes ever, one of my favorite sneakers ever, but I don't know who actually designed them. Was it Demna? Was it somebody in the Balenciaga team? You know, don't really actually ever find out who specifically designed something. So it will be quite cool to learn the things that he actually had a hand in designing. One of them being, you know, the Yeezy army boots. You know, I've spoken very highly about them over the years. I'm a big fan. I think they're probably one of the most underrated stuff that he's made. Alongside with maybe the desert boots, right? That desert boot that he made, Yeezy, back when, you know, Yeezy was definitely doing its thing. Those were fucking incredible. So I'm not surprised that I like the fucking army boots. There's loads of different stuff that we see here. We see some pictures here, exclusive pictures with him and Virgil. RIP to the GOAT. There's what looks like a Louis Vuitton, maybe it's a card holder or something that says free money Virgil on the back, which is fucking cool. Love that. You got the original Versace fucking sneakers that he made that I think got him his name anyway and kind of got him famous. That's fucking amazing, by the way. These are Murakami, I think, right? Collaborations. They might be a Murakami. I don't know if they ever came out or maybe they're unreleased, but they look fucking incredible. And you got different fucking, I guess, samples and ideas and stuff that he's made over the years. You've got a segment featuring, what do you call it? Andre 3000. As well featured in the book. Loads of really exclusive pictures that we probably all haven't seen and shit. Him out and about doing his thing. So yeah, I can't wait to get a hold of it. Looks fucking impressive. Big up Salehe Bembury. Big up Blood Clot Salehe Bembury. That book looks very, 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 very impressive. Talking about things that look impressive, big up GQ. GQ have released this article featuring a look into Virgil Abloh's expansive archive, RIP to the GOAT. I'm not too sure what's going on. I'm not too sure if we're ever going to get access to it ourselves as people, or if there's going to be like a touring exhibition, or if they're going to put this into a book. But it's pretty incredible to see his archive of things that he just owned, that he put in storage, where everything's been catalogued and filed and in the exact fucking way. It's absolutely incredible to kind of see. And it is kind of heartbreaking also to know, you know, unfortunately he's no longer around to kind of tell us the stories about all these fucking items. But you know, as these things go, they all tell their own story anyway. So let's scroll down. It says, inside the top secret Virgil Abloh archive. Earlier this year, I was buzzed into a nondescript warehouse somewhere in the Midwest. Inside, past several additional security doors and a locked gate, I entered a private storage facility where thousands of identical grey boxes filled the maze of floor-to-ceiling shelves. My mind kept turning to the final shot of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Few people beyond the small staff in white gloves had carefully organized contents within what is known. What I was looking at was one of the most significant and valuable repositories of modern fashion history. Virgil Abloh's sneaker collection. Wow. This is my introduction to the Virgil Abloh archive, VAA, or it's at least about half of it. Following a 3-year effort to track down and catalog the late designer's materials, the enormous archive spreads between secret facilities in 2 different Midwest cities. Collectively, they house approximately 20,000 garments, shoes, and bags and documents pieces of art, and personal mementos that belong to the most prolific creative force of our time. Of his time, sorry. Abloh worked with a legacy in mind. Well before he was world famous subject of museum retrospective, he had a keen instinct of what would preserve, placing his college notebooks, portfolios from architecture school in a cardboard box that eventually made it on his way into storage units. Alongside Virgil's practice as a creator, he tended to work and think archivally. His as collaborator Mahfouz Sultan, who serves as co-director to archive. I wonder if that's a part of success. Actually thinking about how you'd be remembered. I wonder if that plays a role in determining your success in the arts and shit. Actually thinking about how people will remember your work, how they're going to view it, how it will be catalogued, how it will be displayed, you know? Actually thinking, I guess it goes the same with when you design garments, right? Thinking about how it's going to hang on the rails, how it's going to look on a mannequin, how it's going to move down a runway. It's pretty impressive, man. And again, it kind of, you know, all paid dividends because now people look back at those sketches and think, oh my God. It kind of reminds me of like those early sketches that you see Tyler the Creator do of his career, of his designs, of things that he was looking forward to doing. I think it's kind of, it's almost like a version of like journaling, or no, of what you call it, or putting stuff on a vision board. You know, it almost has the same sort of like vibe towards that sort of stuff. So there's probably some utility in it there. It continues. By the time he founded Off-White, then as an artistic director for Louis Vuitton Men's, everything Abloh touched was filed away. From the final pieces to the notes to the models, the prototypes along the way. According to his former chief of staff, I don't know how you spell that guy's name. Is it Atitian Selvendran? Now chief operating officer of Virgil Abloh Securities, which oversees the archive. Nothing was discarded. Nothing was not important. It was an unspoken rule and a critical part of Virgil's intensely iterative creative process. At the same time, he was equally an archivist of sorts, obsessively purchasing the work of designers he admired. Selvendran describes a steady stream of online purchases arriving whenever they were working, or simply going straight to storage, barely passing through Abloh's hands. In Chicago, when I unwrapped a stash of important Raf Simons coats, over a dozen in all, I realized the tags were still attached. That's incredible, isn't it? That's incredible. Literally buying stuff for your archive only. I know people have done that before. I know I've done that before in the past, where you purposely buy a piece. It's not even your size. You just buy it so you can own it, so you can look over the details, analyze the hang tag, the wash tag, the construction, look at the materials. It's fucking fascinating to kind of see, especially if you're as fashion obsessed as I am and you're kind of looking at all these images on Vogue.com and you're like just obsessed with it. You might see it in editorials, but you never fucking felt it. You don't go to store. Like I'm not really big on, you know, popping into stores if I don't have money and shit. So being able to buy these things and hold them in your hands is really fucking important. In 2022, the year that Abloh died from a rare cancer, Abloh's wife Shannon hired a team of professional archivists to begin scouring the world for Virgil Abloh effects. The Virgil Abloh archive is my way of sharing Virgil with the world. Not just his work, but his spirit, his process, his humanity, says Shannon Abloh. Big up Shannon Abloh, man. Fucking legend. I want you to feel Virgil's endless curiosity and to see how we thought and created. It was an immense undertaking. When Vas picked up his Paris office, the contents alone filled 7 shipping containers. An office in Paris. Jesus Christ. Some would say it was a bit of a hoarder, innit? Some would say, but that's the thing. Part of streetwear history is hoarding. To be fair, it's an integral part of streetwear history is the ability to hoard. You know, over the course of 3 voyeuristic days, I saw firsthand how ideas poured out of Virgil's brain. Like when I examined a conceptual Nike Prada sneaker mock-up and leafed through a Jesus Christ. He was working on a Nike Prada mock-up. Imagine that, Nike Prada Off-White collab. Jesus Christ. Louis Vuitton collection. He doodled on a loose leaf of paper while before he got the job. It turns out the king of WhatsApp was a compulsive sketcher. Love it. Even more poignant was the mundane but revealing personal ephemera. The economy class airline tickets, the all-access laminates, a busted iPhone. Abloh ferreted away as he climbed to the top of fashion. Some objects etched H4 with 4 closed possibilities. I lingered over a pair of sturdy silver scissors he planned to make in collaboration with the artist Sterling Ruby. Wow, that would have been fucking cool. Sultan speculates that Abloh was preparing to showcase his archive in some form before he died. He was designing all kinds of cabinets and vitrines with the eye towards museologically storage and display. Abloh often quipped that everything I do is for the 17-year-old version of myself, and in the spirit, Vas eventually aims to open archive to the public. I love that. My hope is that they're engaging with these ideas and witnessing the vast collection, future generation will feel empowered to build upon Virgil's work and make their own work. This September, the VA's first public exhibition will be captured by Mufus and Chloe Sultan will be open to the Grand Place in Paris. Okay, cool. When that opens in Paris, I'm definitely going to that. That should be a pilgrimage for every streetwear head, every fan of the culture, every fan of the scene, any fan of Virgil, any fan of Ye should definitely go. When that fucking exhibition opens in Paris, I hope the streets are flooded. I hope the streets are fucking packed with people going out and paying tribute, because that's going to be fucking fun. What was Abloh really up to? As the designer once noted, it only took Marcel Duchamp 13 ready-mades to change art history. And indeed, with a handful of screen-printed flannels and a bunch of sneakers, Abloh harnessed a new modern energy and reshaped fashion. But from where I stood, the archive itself looked like its most important work. Like he knew all along, his most significant contribution would be open to the doors to his singular creative universe for a generation to discover. Exactly. I think he even mentioned in interviews, the important thing wasn't that he got the Louis Vuitton job. The important thing was what got him to get the Louis Vuitton job. Because he was just like everybody else, right? A lot of people didn't really rate his designs in the first place. But people can't deny that he did get that job through pure sweat, through pure hard work, through pure hustle, through pure output. Never fucking pondering on ideas, or like me sitting on a lazy drive full of fucking concepts and plans and shit, putting it all out, putting it out. And then over time, he got kind of recognized for that fucking crazy work ethic and output, and eventually got one of the most coveted jobs ever, you know? So I think that was always a plan to document the entire process so that everybody can know it's entirely possible too. Because all it takes is one person that looks like you, that speaks like you, that's from the same place as you, or just in general, just one person. Doesn't even matter. They don't even have to look like you. All it takes is one person doing it and showing you it's possible, and then boom, the floodgates open. By the end of the third day, I was shifted through ephemera from his Paris office. My eyes landed on a stack of white and blue notebooks. I flipped through the crisp, empty pages, wondering what he would have filled them with, how many more warehouses he would have needed in his life hadn't been cut too short. Yeah, but look at all the images, look at all the pictures, look at all these fucking Louis Vuitton bags on the fucking shelves. Oh my god. I can't imagine the value of that fucking warehouse and that archive. It's probably in the fucking tens of millions. Stupid shit in here. Samples, one-aways, satchels, backpacks, key pulls, like crazy stuff. Luxury bags. Abloh specific designer V&A's facility. The handbag collection spreads across several massive industrial racks. Look at all the fucking Chrome Hearts jeans. Chrome Heart jeans shorts, Chrome Heart jeans, cargos. He loved Chrome Hearts, innit? And I think they loved him too, to be fair. He did a bunch of stuff. They had private dinners. I think he was very close with their kids as well. The founders of Chrome Hearts, he was kind of close to them as well. They fucking loved him. They embraced him a lot. Before Chrome Hearts became a popular phenomenon, Abloh was custom ordering increasingly elaborate cross-patch jeans, sterling ruby coats, Raf Simons coats in general. Abloh was captivated by Raf Simons' conceptual take on youth culture, and starting in the early 2010s, methodically collected the Belgian designer's most important runway designs. It was just unfortunate that Raf Simons was such a cunt to Virgil when he was alive, you know? He said such cunty things, such mean, nasty things about him, but Virgil loved him. And when presented opportunity to kind of reply, he didn't cuss him back, you know? He just kind of, you know, was very complimentary. He didn't even turn the other cheek, he was complimentary. By the way, that's a custom rack, isn't it? That's a custom design he's got there, rail. That's really fucking cool. If you can't see it, it's like a blue, you know, it's blue. And it looks like it looks like a cage, like a box, but it's open up on the side and there's a rail inside it. And it's got this little bit on the top that says VAA 08. So I guess these are all numbered rails. Really fucking cool idea. He designed his own rails. Fucking love that. Oh, look at that. There's a conceptual G-Wagon that I'm sure doesn't drive. It's just a conceptual car that he made as well. Abloh called the G-Wagon one of his most favorite objects of design before reimagining the luxury symbol as a deconstructed race car. A G-Wagon race car. Fucking hell. Paint bottles. Love those, by the way. Virgil traveled a suitcase full of paint bottles so he could set up personal art studios wherever he's traveled. Wow, look at that. Linea Rosa Nike. Prada and Nike pitch. When Abloh had an idea for a product, no matter how far-fetched, he would drop everything and mock it up. Look at that. He designed this idea for... They look like... I don't know what those shoes are. Those Air Maxes are. But he put that red Prada line at the back of it. Do you know how crazy these would have gone on the streets if he dropped these? Prada Air Maxes. Come on. Concepts for the mid-layer garment muslin sample, the very first garment Virgil designed for Louis Vuitton. I think when I see this, I remembered of like Michael B. Jordan actually. Oh, this is one of the things he wore to the Met Gala, right? Modernism Met Gala tuxedo. Before hitting the Met Gala carpet, Abloh, ever the modernist, had a Lower East Side street artist, Charlie Dove's airbrush an unmistakable message across his Louis Vuitton blazer. Modernism, love it. Personal coats. Abloh's wardrobe is a museum full of 2010 grails, full of old Celine, rare Prada. Oh yeah, there's that Prada shirt that Prada shirt that did stupid bits and bobs back in the day. Debut fin. Tank tops. At one point, Virgil's debut Louis Vuitton runway show was going to open and close with 2 looks. That would have been incredible, wouldn't it? Opening and closing your debut Louis Vuitton show with the tank tops. Think of all the fucking, synergy and messaging that comes from a tank top, especially from a hip hop streetwear side of things. Fucking hell. Clever guy. T-shirt. Oh, it's from Colette, innit? Back in the day, I remember that, yeah. He's got all these old school streetwear t-shirts from back in the day. In early breakthrough, Abloh sold 33 tees of seminal Paris Fashion Week Colette after selling the design. His mother sewing the tags. Oh, look at these. There's chrome hearts, off-white street cones. Fucking hell. The original Pyrex flannel shirt that caused all the hullabaloo. Virgil Abloh figurine. Riri toolbox before he got his job. He customized vanity trunks, highly exclusive gifting campaign. Wow, look at all the pens and markers. Wow. But Faber's favorite writing utensils, Molotov paint boxers and Pilot Precise V4 pens. Some Stabilo Boss highlighters. No, I don't see those in there. And loads of other bits and bobs and cycling jersey mock-ups. Yeah, so I'll put the link in the description. Those of you who want to check it out and see. But it's an amazing archive of loads. Oh, look at that custom Goyard bag with Pyrex written on it. Shit. Wow, dream car sculpture as part of one of his shows. Look at this. Incredible, man. Business. Oh, I love his business card. Look at his business cards as well. So simple. His business cards kind of look like a business card you'd get from a hotel. It's got his names on it. Virgil Abloh. It says, what's that? It says men's artistic director. I think, yes, it's Louis Vuitton business card. Men's artistic director, Louis Vuitton address and shit and phone number. His business cards are fucking incredible. Wow. I love those. But yeah, the full link will be in the description later on. It's a fucking amazing fucking treasure trove full of stuff. Polaroids. Lucas Sabat in one of those Polaroids. There's a Moncler vest. Oh, the iconic Moncler vest. Wow. The iconic Moncler vest that he wore during that picture at Paris Fashion Week with fucking Virgil and all them. With Klein and all them, man. When they were dressed up all dorky. That first Paris Fashion Week. Fucking no, he's got everything. Yeah, that Supreme box logo he designed for Chief Keef photo tee. Amazing. I don't know why this never released actually. I wonder why it's never. Hopefully they put it out in the future sometime. I wonder why they never put it out. Oh, one of my favorite things that he ever done was his custom Pioneer CDJs and DDM. Completely see-through, kind of harkening back to the old school days of like early 2000s electronics when stuff was see-through. And you can see all the fucking bells and whistles underneath the circuit boards, the LEDs. Oh, so fucking cool. And there was no labeling, no fucking no writing labeling on any of it as well. It's custom Pioneer CDJs and DDM. While juggling his many designs, Virgil DJ'd 100 to 200. Honestly, hear this figure out. This guy, I don't think we're ever gonna find anyone that's gonna work as hard as this man. While designing, Abloh still DJ'd 150 to 250 nights a year. He asked pioneer DJs to take and make a transparent version of his favorite kit, which he debuted at legendary Coachella performance. Of course they did it, by the way, because it's fucking Virgil Abloh, but fucking hell. Fucking hell. On top of running, what, 2 brands, all the collaborations, he still ended up DJing 150. And I said before, when I DJ, I'm gonna want to do less than 100 gigs. Less than 100, maybe close to 50 a year on top of everything else I'm doing. And this guy was doing 150 plus everything else he's doing, plus looking after his family, being a present dad and shit. Insane. Virgil Abloh Off-White, the 10 Air Force Ones, early mock-ups of the 10 Air Force Ones. Wow. Personal Vans that he used to wear. I remember that era too. He was wearing Vans all the time. Unreleased Off-White Air Force Ones. Well, I think these might be one of the last things he designed actually. These are kind of outdoor hiking type Air Force One mids. A prototype of the early 10 Air Max 90. Customized shoebox. 10 Hyper Dunk prototype. Wow. With the black strap. Wow. 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 Is that how he started off the idea for the fucking iconic stamp on the instep with the Off-White badge? Just drawing it with marker. Fucking love it. Early ideas and early ideas of the, what do you call it, Nike Air Max 97. I think it's done with masking tape as well there to cover Kyler Block the top. Unreleased Air Force Ones. Unreleased Canary Yellow. Jordan 1, which is I think Canary Yellow, going back to the, I think his design studio that used to call Canary Yellow. Oh, he's got a pair of Tom Sachs Mars Yards 2.0s. Wow. That's a beautiful shape in it. Fucking hell. Unreleased Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones. These kind of look like Celine shoes, isn't it? Such a, honestly, you fucking smashed it. I've got these MoMA Air Force Ones. Too much shit, man. Too much amazing stuff. Louis Vuitton sample Air Force Ones. Look at those. Jesus Christ. Those middle ones there and that red one, that kind of Captain America colorway, like, god damn. So hard. So fucking hard. Freeway collaboration, isn't it, right? So Off-White, Louis Vuitton, and Nike Air Force One. Will we get that ever again? Doubt it. Sample trench coat, Wizard of Oz themed. Wow. Hard drives and USB full of ideas and shit. Graphic archive. So many things in there. What Off-White camo jackets. Different Alassa gradient chairs. I love those also. Unreleased jackets featuring Martin Luther King and Le Corbusier. These are Louis Vuitton. They didn't come out. Wow. Wish they come out, man. That would have been amazing. I guess two most important people to him in his life and his practice. You love to see it. Personalized key pull. Dapper Dan jacket. Some of the stuff is just Mason Margiela pieces that he owned, his personal collection. When Abloh asked his staff to source an archival design garment, even one as rare as Mason Margiela Kiss shirt, they would scour the world until they found a seller. Amazing. Yeah, this is the type of stuff that I'll be doing with money, man. This is what I'll be doing with money. None of that fucking jewelry and fucking Porsches and gold houses. Let's go into the archive and buy every single piece. That's what I'm going to do. Once this fucking shit pops up, I'm buying every fucking single piece that I sold. Especially my Supreme and early Bape shit. Every single piece, buying it all barking back. Shark hoodies, camo snapbacks, like varsity jackets, backpacks, long sleeves, parkas, the whole fucking shebang. They're all coming back. Yahoo JP, here I come. Ceramic mugs featured here as well. A part of Abloh's independent art practice was much of the pottery he designed was never publicly shown. Wow. So he just randomly made like cups and shit for himself at home. Love it. VA archive box there. Chrome Hearts office supplies. So many. He's got staplers. He's got, what's that thing called? The sellotape holders. I guess there's envelope opener. Wow, so many things. Grills. His own custom grills made by Marc Jacobs. Letter to Louis Vuitton CEO Michael Burke. Many thanks for the faith and support. What an incredible time to create. Here's to an excellent start. Love, Virgil. Wow, love it. And the arrow pointing down to from the desk of Virgil Abloh is fucking brilliant too. This is the collaboration with Sterling Ruby that never came out, right? The scissors and the brush. Versace pitch deck. He's always pitching stuff, innit? At the time, parties denied rumors that Virgil was in talks to join Italian House creative director, but his mood board says otherwise. So he was rumored to link up with. Wow, that would have been incredible, wouldn't it? He would have killed at Versace too. Actually, Versace might have been an easier thing to kill than Louis Vuitton. Thinking about it, Versace may have been an easier thing to do. He would have conquered. He would have killed at Versace. Black Flag by Arthur Jaffa. Abloh placed his own art, traditional Jaffa, who politically charged blackness, consumers, and mass media. There's a Black Flag piece there. Black Flag by Arthur Jaffa. You've got online ceramics t-shirts. Black Switzerland memo. This was the title of an ambitious art exhibition in Paris that Abloh planned before his passing. Wow. So yeah, big up Virgil Abloh, man. I can't wait for that fucking I can't wait for that archive to be open in Paris for all of us to see. Definitely gonna make the pilgrimage over there to kind of check it out. But I do recommend you check out the article yourself. I actually give you the archive link so you can kind of bypass the fucking paywall. But it's a really fucking cool article. I'll obviously put it in the description too. But if you're watching, it's available in the stream chat so you can check it out yourself as well. It seems like a really fucking cool article. And Virgil's the fucking GOAT. Virgil's the fucking GOAT. That doesn't need to be repeated or said again, but I'll say it anyway. I'll say it anyway. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Axiom Zing Show, episode number 943. Been a pleasure to have your company. I'm going to end the show here. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you listening to the podcast via the podcast app, you will hear my tune today, which will be courtesy of a band I've just discovered recently called Shame. They've just released a new album, actually. A new album from Shame just dropped called Cutthroat. The cover's fucking phenomenal, so fucking check it out. And the track that I'll be playing as my song of the day from Shame will be this song called After Party. After Party, courtesy of the band Shame from the album Cutthroat, is my song of the day. They'll be playing with my voice. If you're watching via the YouTube, you'll hear nothing. You'll fade to black. But if you do stay around, I'm going to be transitioning straight over to the random show. So I'll see you guys there in about 5 minutes. But everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Pleasure of your company. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Peace. Take care. Bye.